question from Reddit was how to get started with prepping. And a little bit of context to their question was they've been on the fence about prepping for a little while, but they just haven't actually, made the jump into actual prepping. They live in the United Kingdom, so my response to that, well, I've got a few responses to that, and to answer the question, if you know anybody that's on the fence about prepping, then let them know, or just, straight up ask them why haven't they actually started if they're on the fence, because it's not actually hard. So my question to that question is, if you're on the fence, why haven't you started yet? Okay, if you see everything that's going on around you, going on around the world, we can tell that everything is turning to shit. So there really isn't any reason to not be prepping right now, So let's get into this. Where should you, well, actually first, is it too late to start prepping? And to answer that question is yes and no. It is too late to start prepping in a certain sense. Potentially buying property, unless you've got a lot of money saved up, then buying property is probably, not going to be too much of an option. It's definitely going to be a lot harder, and for certain people, it's going to be, basically impossible. But other than that, there's, it's definitely not too late to start. Like I said, for certain things, yes, it is. But for a lot of things, no, it isn't. So how should you start, and where should you start? Well, how is just by going to this grocery store and stocking up on everything that you normally buy. So like if you buy, I don't know, let's say you buy, do myself for example. Let's say you buy rice noodles. Buy an extra pack or 2 or 3, and then put those extra packs away whenever you get home. Write the date on them that you got them, and then rotate them out every so often. Every 6 months or so, maybe rotate that item out. So basically, just go to the store, stock up on a lot of, you don't even have to stock up on a lot if you're, just getting into prepping. Even if you don't have a lot of money, you can still do this. So whatever you buy at the store, buy an extra of that item, or buy 2 extras of that item, or 3 extras of that item, and put those extras away. Write the date on them that you got them, and rotate them out every 6 months to a year, depending on what it is, obviously. There's a lot of people out there that probably don't know exactly what to prep. Anything with a long shelf life, basically. So we're looking at, like, for milk, for example, buy powdered milk. It's not going to taste the same. It's probably not going to be as good as regular milk. But you know what? It's got like a year or a 2-year shelf life, if not more. And it's well, I'm not going to say it's inexpensive. Depending on where you are and what kind you get, it could be expensive. But it's definitely going to be worth it. This is just some of the ways that you can get started in prepping. Just going to the store and buying extras of what you normally get. Let's say you get plastic silverware. plastic silverware is inexpensive, generally speaking. So what you can do, when you're going down to Walmart or wherever you go, HEB, let's say you're in the UK, you go to Asda or Wally's if you're in Australia. Buy extras. Buy 2 or 3 extras of the like 500 count or whatever they've got. Of course, people are going to pass me and then slow down. But anyways, buy extras of those items. Always, every time that you go. What I would recommend is keep going to the grocery store as often as you normally do and just buy the extras if you can afford it. Yeah, guys, even people that are completely broke still can afford to prep. Yes, it's going to take a while longer to obtain everything that you need, but if you're dead broke, you only have a very, very limited amount of income, you can still prep. Like I said, it's going to take a while, but you can still do it. And you're going to be better prepared than what you were if you weren't. Like I said before at the beginning of the video, if you can see what's going on around us and you're not prepping already, why the hell not? There's no reason for you not to be, okay? Just look around, and what's the worst thing that can happen? Nothing happens, and you have all of this extra, all these extra supplies that you would normally already use anyways. And at the worst best case, nothing happens and prices keep going up. Boom, you just saved yourself a little bit of money by buying when it was cheaper and now everything's more expensive. You just saved yourself a little bit of money there. So that's the beginning of prepping. What I would recommend to do is start stocking up on your food. Start stocking up on your water and medical supplies. When it comes to medical supplies, yeah, you're gonna want to get stuff better than just a basic first aid kit. Now, what you could do is you could buy a basic first aid kit to start off with. And obviously, with that, you'd be better off than with nothing at all. But once you start off with a basic first aid kit, start building on it. Start adding extra things to that first aid kit. Start adding bandages, wraps, gauzes, adhesives, creams such as triple antibiotic, stuff like that. Then maybe start adding tools to it, like sometimes you're going to need a scalpel, sometimes you're going to need scissors. Just different things. Add painkillers such as Tylenol, Aleve, aspirin, things like that. Burn cream, insect bite cream, all that kind of stuff. I have a really good knowledge on first aid and medical stuff. I'm just not going to include it into this video because that would be more for a more advanced first aid kind of video. But just get the first aid kit and start adding on to it whenever you can. Whenever you do go down to the store, or you go down to the pharmacy or anything like that, start looking at and buying different things for your first aid kit. Because during SHTF, getting an injury is going to be a lot more common than during normal safe times. So now that you got your food, you're starting on your first aid kit. Then you're gonna want to start working on a bug out bag and a bug out plan. because everybody's got a bug-in plan, a bunker-in plan kind of thing. You know, vast majority of people are already planning on bunkering in. That's fine. That's fine. But there, like I said before in a different video, there's going to be many different occasions that, you know, are going to force somebody to bug out, potentially. And even if that's considering looking at hotels within a 25 to 100 mile radius of where you live, and jotting them down on a piece of paper, and you know where they're at, and you know the general prices on them, that could be good for like a wildfire or flooding, for instance. But for more serious occasions, where you're going to need to actually bug out on foot or by vehicle and get the hell out of Dodge because the city's burning or you got an invasion coming in, then you're going to need a more comprehensive bug out bag and a more comprehensive bug out plan. I've done videos on finding the perfect bug out location and things like that. What you're going to want to look for, whether you're planning a bug out plan. But you're going to want to get your bug out bag ready too. And let me just let y'all know right now, when you're first starting and you're making a bug out bag, you don't know a whole lot about prepping or anything like that, your bug out bag is probably going to weigh 50 to 100 pounds, and that's not good. That's not something that you're going to want, okay? Because when your bug out bag is too heavy, you might think, oh yeah, it's fine, I can carry it. It might be fine, you might have a 100-pound bug out bag, and you might think that you'd be able to carry it, fine for the first, 100 meters. Then after 100 meters, you're thinking to yourself, oh shit, I gotta lose some weight. Now you're figuring out what you're gonna, leave behind and what you're gonna keep. And at that point, all you're doing is prepping for somebody else and yourself. So, figure out what you need in your bug out bag, and your bug out bag should contain, at the bare minimum, some sort of water purification system, such as, water purification tablets, solution, like a Life Straw kind of thing, like a water filter, or even if it's some weatherproof matches, weatherproof lighter, and something to boil water in. But you're going to want to, your first thing that you're going to want to put in your bag is some form of way to purify water. You got your rules of 3, you got 3 minutes without air. You got 3 days without water. That's the big one right there, 3 days without water. Then 3 weeks without food. So, like I said, water is important. Have a way to purify it. And after water, after having a way to purify water in your bag, then you're gonna want a way to eat. Or I'm sorry, let me skip that real quick. Get back to that. You're gonna want some sort of shelter. So, be that a tarp or a very lightweight tent, a blanket or so, if you can, if you have the room, like a sleeping bag maybe, in order to keep yourself warm. And on the sleeping bag, you're going to want to make sure that it's got a good temperature rating, like a good low temperature rating, especially if you're living in a colder area. But guys, even down south, even in Texas, New Mexico, it gets down below freezing quite often in the wintertime. So keep that in mind. You're going to want a good sleeping bag that's lightweight, rated for a cold temperature. Because you don't want to be shit out of luck with a POS sleeping bag and it starts snowing outside. Now you've got hypothermia to worry about. You got other issues on your hand. So have a way to have safe, clean drinking water. some sort of shelter, and then have some sort of food. So when I mean food, I don't mean canned food, guys, because canned food is heavy. You might have a couple cans of food. Just remember that is going to be heavy. Okay, so what you're looking at for canned food is you're looking at mixes like pancake mix, powdered milk, things like that. And you're looking at dehydrated food and or freeze-dried food. Something that's lightweight, not going to take up a lot of space. On top of that, you're going to want just other different kind of survival gear, such as a good knife or a good multi-tool and a good knife, wire cutters. But again, if you got a good multi-tool, it should have wire cutters. But I would recommend having wire cutters separate, a good pair of them, something that you're going to be able to squeeze real good. Because sometimes you're going to maybe run into something that you're going to need to cut that is wire, say like a fence or something. Either that, or another thing another tool in your bag could be potentially metal wire. I have metal wire in my bag. Therefore, I have wire cutters to cut that metal wire. And you can use metal wire for a lot of different things. And here on the truck, I've needed it occasionally. Not all the time, not even some of the time, but occasionally I will need that metal wire on the truck. And I've got that metal wire, and I'm happy when I do. And I'm happy when I have my wire cutters to cut that wire. So let's add metal wire to the list on survival gear that you might need. You might need to tie something up with the metal wire. Another big thing, similar to wire, is cordage. So I've got 550 cord on the truck. I've got a lot of it. A lot of 550 cord on the truck. I've got a lot of other kind of things like rope on the truck as well. So rope, 550 cord. That's going to be something in your bug out bag that you're going to want. Heavy duty cordage. Make sure it's really good. Make sure it's not the cheap stuff either. So get cordage, because there's a lot of things that you're going to need it for. And you can tie down like a raised bed, like a raised hammock kind of thing. You can use heavy duty cordage for. See some other things that you're going to want. Potentially a monocular or binoculars, potentially. That way you can, see what's out at a distance. That is, if you don't have a rifle with a scope on it. Another thing that you're going to want survival gear for your bug out bag, it's not necessarily going to be inside of your bag, but rather on the outside, is a really good machete. Don't go cheap on this item either. Machetes are one of those things where you get what you pay for, so make sure you get a good, solid machete. And that could be one with like a sawback machete and or a kukri machete. Something really good. You're gonna want something good, something solid, something that's not going to break. And then on top of the machete, to pair it with the machete, is you're going to want, I got the little gnat, finally. Something to pair with the machete is a blade sharpener. Something to sharpen the blade with. Because obviously when you use something, you're going to be wearing it down. And a machete is no different. Another item to have in your bag would be a gun cleaning kit if you do plan on having a gun in your bug out bag. A dirty gun is a gun more likely to malfunction. So keep a firearm cleaning kit with you. They're not big, they don't take up a lot of room. You're going to be happy that you had one. Same thing with the knife sharpener. necessarily lightweight, but it's ammunition, extra mags, and you're gonna want your mags preloaded. Now again, this is depending on, you know, you having a firearm and you being allowed to possess that firearm. I mean, if it's complete SHTF, Mad Max, without rule of law, then I guess, you know, you're gonna carry wherever the hell you're gonna carry, because it's your safety and your family's safety that comes first over everything else, right? I'm not saying to do anything. I'm just saying it how it is, you know. But having ammunition for that firearm and knowing how to use that firearm. So if you are going to have a firearm, make sure you know how to use it. Okay, and that doesn't mean going to the range once and then done. Get proficient with that firearm. Now, I know it's going to be expensive. I know ammo's expensive. But a firearm that you don't know how to use or you don't have ammo for, it's only good for one thing. It's only good for two things. First thing that it's good for is carrying extra weight and losing you know, you losing weight at the same time by carrying that and burning calories. You know, you're burning more calories holding extra weight that's useless. The other thing that an empty firearm is good for is a melee weapon. That's all it is at that point. Let's say you've got an AK or an SKS. Like my SKS, it's got a bayonet on it. That makes a pretty decent melee weapon, if at all, you know, if at the worst case scenario. But have extra ammunition, have mags ready for it, or have spare stripper clips. And if you've got stripper clips, then don't be afraid to get, you know, 20 or 30 or 40 of them already, you know, pre-set up and in your bug out bag. Yeah, it's going to carry some extra weight, but again, you know, if you get into the shit, you're going to be happy that you've got that extra, you know, you've got those extra mags, you've got that extra ammunition. Because guys, you don't want to have to use your firearm as a melee weapon. They're not, unless it's got a bayonet, they're not designed for melee weapons. You know, you can probably use it as a club if it's a rifle. You know, you can, other than that, you know, your knife is going to be a better weapon than your firearm at that point. So keep that in mind. Again, guys, there's a lot of other things that, you know, you're going to want to put in your bug out bag. You know, right now you're just getting started with that. So focus on the basics. Focus on the, you know, the bare necessities. You know, the most important thing is food, water, and shelter, and then self-defense. Actually, let me rephrase that. Water, food, shelter, self-defense. Or water, shelter, food, self-defense. I'm sorry. So have a way to get water. Have a shelter. Have food, and have self-defense. That's your basics that you need for your bug out bag. And yeah, I would suggest carrying a few bottles of water. But again, guys, water is just like canned food. It is heavy. Water gets heavy. And your bug out bag needs to be light. Because you don't want to be having to trek, you know, how many ever miles or how many ever kilometers with an excessively heavy bug out bag. It's going to be unpleasant. You're going to end up losing weight by throwing some of the stuff out on the ground. And again, at that point, you're just prepping for somebody else that's behind you. But on the bug out bag, it's not a one size fits all. You're going to need to figure out what's working best for you. And, you know, some people might even have multiple different kind of bug out bags. So if you've got a vehicle, you know, it's an older vehicle and, you know, it's more so EMP proof, then, you know, your bug out bag might be your bug out vehicle bag. And that's going to be everything that you're going to throw into your vehicle as a bug out. And this thing can be heavy. You're allotted a lot more weight because it's not you that's carrying all the weight, it's your vehicle carrying all the weight at that point. But again, guys, that's going to be only if your vehicle is EMP proof. So going to be an EMP that's going to take things out. It could be an invasion. So even if you've got a newer vehicle, let's say you've got like a Toyota Hilux, it's a 2020 Toyota Hilux or something, or a Renault or a Toyota Tacoma, or an F-150 or anything like that, just any kind of vehicle in general that's newer. And damn, hang on guys, I need to take a drink. Really any kind of vehicle, whatever bug out vehicle. And the best vehicle to have for a bug out vehicle is the one that you already have right now. But if it's not a bad idea to have a bug out bag for your vehicle as well. And again guys, this can be heavier, so you can put things like canned food, cases of water, ammo cans. This is something that you can use for all of that extra weight. So if you need a bug out and you've got a bug out vehicle, you got a bug out bag for your vehicle, that's fine. But again, have a regular on-foot bug out bag in your vehicle. Or if you are going to bug out with your vehicle, take your bug out bag, your on-foot bug out bag with you in your vehicle. Because something can happen to that vehicle and force you to bug out the rest of the way on foot. And yeah, at that point, you are going to have to leave all that heavy shit behind in your vehicle. And, you're going to be bugging out. You're going to be prepping for yourself and, whatever's left in your vehicle. You're going to be prepping for the next guy too at that point. But you know what? It's better having that vehicle bug out bag just in case you need it. Just in case your vehicle does make it to its final destination. Have that on-foot bug out bag with your vehicle just in case. But guys, there's many other things that you can get for prepping. One of the big things that I would recommend buying is a bow and arrow, compound bow, whatever, crossbow. I have a Barnett crossbow. Excuse me. They're really good. It's quiet. It's generally quiet. Things like that. And guys, if you're on the fence about prepping, my recommendation right now is jump in. Don't even think about it, just start it, because you've already been thinking about it, but you haven't pulled the trigger. It's time to do that. Because you look around the world on what's going on. You'd have to be senile or crazy to not be prepping right now. And even if you start right now and shit hits the fan tomorrow, you're just that much little bit more prepared than you were yesterday. And the more you prep, the more you're going to be prepared than you were the day before. And if nothing happens for the next month, next 6 months, next year, next 5 years, you're just going to be that much more prepared. And even if nothing happens until the day you die, you can use those preps in everyday life. Then you can hand them off to your family, and they can use it if shit hits the fan for them. Guys, prepping is life insurance. Prepping is like life insurance or auto insurance. It's best to have it and not need it. But if you need it and you don't have it, you're shit out of luck. Y'all have a good one.